Hello, welcome to the Carousel of Conversations. You're in for a real treat. Join us as we take a spin through the past, present, and future of all things Disney. Here, where there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, just a podcast away. Let the podcast begin.
Well, we're Noah-less this week.
Oh, no.
Well, Noah
what are we
decided
gonna do?
to go off on a vacation and leave us all by ourselves without just the two of us.
You know,
So-
maybe that's what we should do to him next week. When we go to
Yeah.
vacation, make Noah just record a one-man show. It would probably be like our most listened, most watched episode.
Monologue with Noah.
Or fun fact. That's his thing, right? Every time, fun fact.
Yeah, we could have Noah do an episode while he's on vacation. But yeah, Noah is on vacation like we talked about in last week's episode. And so by the time we're recording this, he's just getting back. But he wouldn't be able to jump on and record this week. So we decided to still do an episode. I think next week we're going to try and record two, hopefully, since we'll be out of town the following week. And so try to keep up with all of it, but also all the vacations and the back and forth. So I hope you're understanding of those family vacations. It's that time of year where everybody's going on vacation. It's that fun time. So, yeah,
I'm ready to go.
We're getting very excited about ours.
Is your suitcase packed yet, RJ?
No, I did buy all my shirts, but now I've got to figure out if I have enough of, like shorts and all that stuff so I can go. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm getting there. Getting closer.
Oh.
I think my shirts were actually just delivered. I need to go out to the mailbox and grab them.
We're kind of at the point now where we're buying toiletries, which are like uber expensive.
Yeah, especially even though we're traveling and we're driving, so we don't have to worry about the airplane side of things, I still feel like you have to make sure that you have enough. And I like body wash. I buy the big bottle with the pump on it. And I don't want to travel with that. So I'm going to have to buy a separate body wash that I can take with me. Now, I do like the H2O body wash that they have in the hotel. But Jessalyn does not.
The body wash, but I don't like the shampoo and the conditioner.
Yeah, so
It
I
just
still end
doesn't
up
do
bringing
well with
my
my
own too.
hair. I don't know. My hair is really thick and particular, so I don't like that as well. But I'm the same way. I feel like the toiletries that I use every single day all went out at the same time. So I don't even have any soap left. I don't have any soap. I'm out of soap. I'm out of conditioner. I'm out of hairspray, dry shampoo. I need to check my deodorant. I'm just
me too.
All that stuff just went out. I have to have those things.
No, but seriously, I use this stuff to keep in my hair to keep it down and contained or whatever, because I've got 16 cowlicks in my hair, and so I buy this stuff and it comes in a big bottle. And it lasts me 6 months, that big old bottle does, or if not longer. And so it lasts me forever. And of course, it happens to go out a few weeks ago, right before we go on our trip. And then Jessalyn's makeup all runs out. It's just that time where it's where you go shopping and all your condiments are out.
I totally forgot to tell you that I put the last bit of fabric softener in the
yeah, it's about that time where you need to make that Sam's Club run and the makeup run and everything else. It's just...
Yeah, we will probably spend more money preparing for our Disney trip than what we will actually spend at Disney.
Yeah, it's that equal balance of
We
everything,
are trying something new, though, this trip.
What is that?
Reusable ponchos.
Oh, yeah. So we've had we've had a poncho that we've reused a good bit that actually Noah's parents gave us. Yeah. And they were great. And they lasted us for 4 or 5 trips, I think. And they finally were giving up on us. And so
and they weren't meant to be reusable. So I'm eager to see how these hold up.
Yeah. And then the other thing we're doing is those fans that we showed last week on the episode.
Yeah.
We're going to
Did
try
get
those
Bella
out
one.
for the heat. Yeah,
Yep.
because we usually always had a stroller fan for Bella, but now we've all three got our own individual fans for the
Yeah.
trip. So I'll be interested. I'm still trying to convince Jessalyn to buy the umbrella with like the fan on the top of it and the mister and all that. She's not convinced.
Well, we just spent like more money than probably what you should on a poncho. Why? I can't justify.
She's complaining. It was what, $16, $14
It's
bucks?
$14. That is a lot of money for a
$14 is not a
poncho.
lot.
For a poncho? Yes, it
If
is.
you can reuse it, it's totally fine.
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that we admitted to the world that we spent $14 a piece on a poncho.
But look, like if you would have bought a single-use poncho at Disney, it would have been more expensive than that reusable one that you can take on multiple trips. See? Logic
we
is
just need
there.
to be like diligent to let it dry at night.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. But
Get
no,
so
we're very
tired
excited.
when you get back to the hotel and you forget logic.
Yeah. It's like you're just ready to get in bed so you can get up and have the energy to do the next day.
Yeah.
But we're very excited about our trip coming up, and so we're doing those final preparations that we talked about last week. We booked our lightning lanes and did all that, so we're very, very excited to have our trip coming soon. So we'll talk about all of that later in a later episode, and we'll have our kind of trip reports. We're kind of pre-recording a few things so that we can have some episodes that come out while we're gone. And then we won't be able to record one episode while we're gone. So it's just kind of like just working ahead a little bit. But tonight we kind of wanted to do an episode that is a movie review about the new Pixar movie, Elio. Am I saying that right? Elio?
Yep, Elio.
Yeah. And so we went and saw it in theaters with our daughter Bella, and we wanted to give you kind of our thoughts on it. So what are your general thoughts before we go into the spoiler thoughts on the movie? Like the too long didn't read version of the, like, should they go see it or not? Your overall general opinion of it.
General opinion, I went in with zero expectations because you and I both are like not huge Pixar fans. And then I left thinking, oh, that wasn't that bad. But it's not something that, I don't know. I don't even see myself watching it again when it comes on Disney Plus.
So my too long didn't read, type opinion of it all is that it was a Disney Plus movie. It should have been a Disney Plus movie, not a in theaters movie.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if I could watch it on my couch on Disney Plus for something that I already pay for, as opposed to, I think we paid, which is a ridiculous amount, like $40 for us to go see it in theaters. I felt like it wasn't worth the $40 that I spent to go see it, but I that's not to say I didn't like it. It's just, it would have been a better Disney Plus movie than like...
You said something about, like, it reminded you, not the storyline, but, like, the type of movie, like Luca. But...
Yeah, I did say that. I said it reminded me of, like, I liked Luca more than this, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really liked Luca.
Yeah. I liked Luca a lot more than this. But, like, it doesn't remind me of the storytelling of a Pixar movie, which I'm not a Pixar fan in general. But, like, I would rather watch a Toy Story or a Cars or a Monsters, Inc. over this any day. Your glass is just fogged up with your tea.
My tea is so hot. My glasses, I can't drink it without my glasses fogging up.
That was so funny. I look over at you and your glasses are fogging up, and then my face is all shadowy because of my hat. Let's try and do that. But yeah, it's doing it again. That's hilarious.
I have to drink it before it gets cold.
All right, so now we're going to go into the spoiler portion of the thing. So if you haven't seen Elio, I would recommend waiting until after you've seen Elio to listen to the rest of this, or just listen to it and decide for yourself whether or not you want to go see it. But we are probably going to be talking about a few things in the movie that might spoil the story.
To be fair, I wouldn't care if anything was spoiled for me in this movie.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And like, there's not really a grand finale thing that you would be like, wow, that was amazing. I'm so mad that was spoiled for me. Yeah. So all right, let's jump into it now. So this is your last warning. We're gonna jump into our review and talk about it from here on out. All right, so general story and theme. What did you think about the storyline overall? I feel like I'm interviewing you because I normally ask the questions to two of you. This feels weird.
Let's see. Overall storyline, it's different. Anyway, if I could associate a theme park with a movie, like one of the 4 parks, this is a solid Epcot movie.
Yeah, I thought that the whole time watching it.
Like the theming of it, like futuristic, outer space, trying to discover the world. We have the technology now to discover the world, all these things. Like that's very, very Epcot-y. Even the music reminded me a lot of Epcot. The storyline itself, like it's a unique storyline, and I think that like him being raised by his aunts because of a tragic incident with his parents, like I think some of those things are a little bit more of a modern.
See, but I felt like they missed a lot of it too.
I mean, I feel like they could have definitely built that background a little bit more. I mean, I know they had the language thing that him and his parents did together, and he felt like he was wanted in that scenario, and he didn't feel that way with his aunt. But I do feel like there was not enough character building between his background and his aunt and all that stuff. But like, I did like the fact that it was a different storyline. Like, we don't normally see that a character being raised by extended family like that, at least I can't think of one.
That was unique.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was kind of like they didn't do enough character development for Elio and his aunt, and like, you knew that his parents passed away. You didn't get any details about that. And you knew that she was struggling to do it. They tried to throw in this whole, like, she wanted to be something else, but Elio kind of ruined that when he got thrown into her life. That she wanted to be an astronaut, but she wasn't going to be able to do that because of Elio. But then they really didn't develop that. They didn't explain why she was frustrated with him, so that was kind of confusing. Just like that he was different, but not really into too much detail about that either. Yeah. They didn't really delve into his emotional state as much as I think they should have. Like, I felt like he was sad, but like they didn't dive into a lot of why he was sad or why he felt like he didn't belong in a way.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And so, like, they're just like, oh, he's sad and he doesn't belong. And he's sad and he feels like he doesn't belong because his parents passed away. All right, moving on to the aliens, like, that's what it felt like to me. It felt like it wasn't as well developed. Now, I know a lot of people say, like, go to these original storylines, and this is why Disney doesn't develop a lot of original story and keep doing remakes, is because these movies don't do well when they do develop original storylines. But this one just didn't feel like it was.
Well, it was a different type of Pixar movie too, because typically there are things about Pixar that maybe I should say I like the storylines of Pixar. They're just not my favorite movies. And I felt like this one was a weaker storyline for Pixar than what it normally is.
Right.
Now, the elements, like I'm sure we can talk about this later, like the designs and the whatever you and Noah are into, like the computer side of things was phenomenal, and Pixar always is amazing with that. But the storyline itself it wasn't. I feel like we're making it sound terrible. It wasn't terrible, but they've done better. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Like, I would say, for me, it's kind of like I like the storyline of Luca and the animation style of Luca a lot more than even I liked this movie. But that's not to say I didn't enjoy it. And we'll talk about the animation in just a minute and the visuals
Right.
and all of that and what Pixar did really, really, really well with this. But like we're just within the storyline itself, I just felt like it didn't make sense.
Right.
Like there were
It just
cool
had
elements of
missing
it.
elements. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of cool elements to it, but I didn't think that. But that kind of goes into the next category, which was characters and performances. Like, do you feel like the characters were well thought out, or like that his relationship with his aunt was well thought out? And I just don't think that those are. But I do think that there was a cool relationship in the movie between Elio and his friend that he had met, the alien. Oh, why am I drawing a blank on his name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Gordon.
Gordon.
Isn't it Gordon?
Gordon? Oh, now I'm going to have to... It's going to
look
drive
at
me
that.
nuts.
I will say that there were aspects of Elio's Glordon.
Yeah.
Okay. So there were aspects of Elliot's background that I wish I knew more of, but Elliot himself,
Elio.
that's what I meant to say, Elio, was...
We were messing up all the names right there.
I think he himself was very well developed.
Yeah.
It's his aunt that I felt like was the missing aspect, because I was clear the whole time that he didn't feel like he belonged and he wanted to go to a new universe where he felt like he could start over and belong. Like, I get all that. And like, even his realization that his aunt did miss him in the long run. Like, he was fine, other than I wanted to know more about his background, which would tie in with the aunt. I wanted more with the aunt, I think.
Yeah. I think that I liked the relationship that they built with this Glordon character. So,
Yeah.
kind of the background is Elio goes to, he feels like he doesn't belong, and so he gets shipped off to space to shipped
He
off.
gets
He gets
abducted by aliens.
So his aunt works for the military. He sends off a
Space
kind of signal to the Space Force, which is the military. So he sends off a signal to the aliens that they receive his message. They think that he's the leader of Earth, and so they kind of abduct him to see if he belongs within their community of aliens. And so he is trying to go through this whole process with them, and in the process they run into some conflict with Glordon's dad, and so Elio escapes.
Well, Glordon's dad is like this warrior guy, and that's their community, is that they feel like they have to just fight all the time. And so when Elio runs into Glordon, Glordon's not wearing the armor. He's just this slug, creepy looking guy with no eyeballs. And that's when we see, Elio doesn't feel like that he's different from the people he's surrounded by. And Glordon feels like he's different from his stereotypical community as well.
Right. But I liked the relationship that they developed with them, because they both felt like they didn't belong, in the cultures that they were in. So Elio felt like he didn't belong on Earth because his parents had passed away, and Glordon had parents who deeply cared about him, but he felt like they were trying to push him into something he wasn't. And so those two different types of characters, but they had a good ending, and we'll talk about that later too. But I felt like the relationship of, hey, we both feel like we don't belong, let's become friends, was a cool storyline, because it was and even at one point Elio said, if you don't like, they were talking about the aliens and bringing him into this community of peaceful aliens to share knowledge. And he's like, why are you trying to fight to belong to somebody that doesn't want you to belong, you know? And I thought that was cool, too, because it's like, why are you trying to fight so hard to belong to a group of people who don't want you? Like, go find people out there who do want you and belong in that group. Your glasses keep fogging up, and it's cracking me up. No. It is funny. So, yeah, I thought that was cool, and I thought the relationship between him and Glordon was really, really awesome. Okay, let's talk about it, because this was the coolest part of it, and this is where Pixar just, like, outshines anybody else altogether, and that is the visuals of this movie.
Yes, the visuals were amazing, and I am not one that normally pays attention to those things. Like, I know you and Noah love to like nitpick those things. I don't really like notice it. But this movie, I kept looking at RJ and saying, "Wow, those visuals, that animation's amazing," and it's just like little. It's the background. It's not even the main character themselves, but like the background of like the area where she works, where he sent the message out to the aliens, and then even their home. It just felt like a real, not animated. It felt like a real home, you know, a real workplace. Like you were there, like you could visually see a house that looked like this, you know? And even little details like when he was hiding in the trash can and he fell out, you know, some cartoons would just show the trash can falling over and him just crawling out. But it showed all the trash and vivid detail, everything like that. Pixar just does an amazing job with that kind of stuff.
Or like even at one point when he jumped into the trash and his shoe was on the outside, the way the shoe bounces. Or there was one really, really cool scene where they had a clone of him, and his aunt took a hair from the clone, and the hair was trying to crawl back to the clone. And the details of how that hair was like inching along and crawling back was just visually the coolest thing ever. And then the abduction scene where they like take him from Earth was really well done. And then there was one scene where I actually got a little motion sick. But it was like these stars swirling as they're taking him and transporting him. And man, the visuals on that were cool. It just made me a little bit dizzy in the moment.
When I first saw like a preview of the movie, I kind of thought, my initial thought were that the aliens look really weird. But the more I watched the movie, the more how clever I thought they were. And I actually really liked them. Like I even felt like some of the designs of the aliens were better than the designs of some of the aliens in Lilo and Stitch.
But
I don't know, like everything about the animation of it, and you know, the water moving in their little bathroom thing, like all of it was just very good, very good.
Oh, yeah, I would say that's the biggest highlight of the movie was the visuals. Like, even just the alien that floats and how they move and flutter. There was a rock character that was part of the senators, or whatever you would call them, the community that they were trying to join. And the rock, the way his motion was, where his arms would pop out and, like, move, it felt very systematic. I don't know like how else to explain it. Like if you're watching Hamilton and you see how the general only walks in straight lines, like those sorts of details, I felt like every detail about Elio was well thought out when it came to the visualizations of the characters themselves. Like the rock was like the way he moved was very chaotic, but then there you've got that one pink alien that was very like she was floating, but it was a cool way that they made her flutter.
It was so good.
So like, yeah, there were so many cool elements like that I really enjoyed about it.
And we kind of, I know, maybe I'll mention this later. It doesn't really have a lot to do with the design, but a little bit. At first, they promote this movie with him with an eye patch, and then it starts with him not having an eye patch. And like even Bella picked up on that because she leaned over to me. She goes, where's his eye patch, you know? But then you figure out later why it's important that he gets that eye patch is because that's how the ant figures out the cloning aspect. But even that too, of the whole cloning and the removal of the eye patch, like it just all
Yeah.
looks real. Like it looks very real. It was so good.
I think another Pixar movie we could compare this to is Elemental, where I liked the visuals of Elemental, but the storyline, I feel like I liked Elio a little better than Elemental.
I don't remember Elemental. I don't know that I could make a comparison. I'm not sure I watched it.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched it and I remember. But I like the the story better than Elemental, and I loved the visual effects to the point where like it wasn't like what's that one that you like to watch, Wish, where I couldn't watch the movie because the
Yeah.
visuals just looked so different and I didn't like it. But with this one, I felt like I would watch it again just to watch the animation style of it.
Yeah.
That's how much I like
It
the
was
animation of
Yeah,
it.
it was good. I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, even my complaint with like Mufasa being the hippo, you know, or like there's moments
Right.
where you notice the visuals are off. With this one, I never felt like the visuals were always on point, the best, and I think that that was really good. The Intergalactic Council, that's what they were called. I keep forgetting the name of it. I
Yeah.
just kept calling it the Alien Group, but yeah, the Intergalactic Council. Blah blah blah. All right. Do you feel like the tone or the humor was more for adults or for kids?
I didn't find it very funny. Like
Yeah,
I think I maybe like chuckled at like two things, you know, but there was
right.
no laughing. I definitely think this movie is more for kids. Like there are some majority of Disney movies I've, you know, as an adult I don't mind watching. But like I said, I feel like this one was definitely more kiddish than what I would like.
I feel like it wasn't well balanced. So like you've got in Stitch, you've got your oh I want to lock Stitch up, and then
Right.
you've got your I never want to lock Stitch up. I love him so much. And then you've got your funny moments where, you know, he's got the soda handle and he's about to shoot her with it. You know, like
Right.
you've got your different balance of elements where you're like, oh, ha ha ha. You know, like you've got all those
Right.
emotions that you go through, and then you, like you said in as well in that review that we did of Stitch, you felt like you laughed, you cried several times during the movie, like you
Right.
just emotionally connected to it. And I feel like that was kind of lacking the balance with it. Like you hurt with Elio, but there was no like there was one funny moment where they were in the toilet, as it were, and he and Glordon were like playing in the toilet with the water scenes. But that was the only moment I think I found funny throughout the whole movie where I was like, "Ha, that was cool." But then the rest of it was so too serious almost, where
Yeah.
it wasn't fun or funny. It was like they were trying to draw out a message, but then it was like they were also like it just didn't have the normal moments of humor or the normal moments of like it didn't feel right. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
I'm with
me.
you. There wasn't. I love a good funny movie. And there really wasn't that in this one at all. Now I found out that one of the characters was played by a character of a TV show that we like Beard. He was played in one of the as one of the characters. So I found because I could associate that actor from that TV show with that character, like I found myself laughing at his parts, you know,
Yeah.
but I mean it had nothing really to do with the movie. It was more of just the actor himself.
I see. I'm now that I'm like reviewing this, I feel like I didn't like it very much. I don't know. Like because the next part is music.
Well, there's no music to talk about. It's just soundtrack
Right.
music. And I
Right.
mentioned it at the beginning like it's the music that you hear when you're walking around the futuristic
Right.
aspect of Epcot. It's the music during Spaceship Earth. It's the music during even at Magic Kingdom and when you're in the queue for Space Mountain. Like, that's the music the whole time, which was
Yeah.
very fitting for the movie, but it's not, you know, every Pixar movie, not every, but the majority of Pixar movies have a song associated with it. You've Got a Friend in Me or Life is a Highway, whatever. This
Yeah.
one's not going to have anything like that. Um,
Right.
but it doesn't mean that it was
I feel like
bad.
that's
It's just,
lacking though.
well, it's just different. It's just, all of it was just
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, but I feel like it needed those musical elements that weren't just background soundtrack music.
But
Like
you think about
even
like
with
Ratatouille. Ratatouille has that specific song. There's no like words to it. They play it all the time in the France Pavilion. It's just the instrumental, and as soon as you hear it, you're like, "Oh, Ratatouille." I don't know that I'm going to even have that with Elio because when I heard all the music, automatically I thought Epcot. You know,
Yeah.
so that connection.
I do feel like it was an IP a little bit that I could see them, if it would have done well, them replacing or trying to add a cool ride to Disney. But I don't feel like it hit in the way that they wanted it to. But if you do that sort of stuff, I just think you have to have those musical elements that match up to the movie. Like even Monsters Inc. or like you mentioned, You've Got a Friend in Me. Like all of those movies have that song that you think of. Even Ratatouille, it being a soundtrack type song, you still connect those two together.
Inside Out's the same way. It's that dun dun da 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 dun dun da,
Yeah.
da, dun, dun.
That's
Yeah.
true. I guess Pixar does it in about half their movies, then, don't
Yeah.
they? But
Yeah.
I didn't feel like the music was bad, though. It was different to me than what I
Yeah.
guess I'm used to. And I want that one song that I sing along with. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Like, the reason I loved the story of Mufasa, but I liked the music even more. Like, my daughter was watching it again today, and I was singing along to the music more than I was paying attention. I was cooking something in the kitchen is what I was doing. And so as she's watching this movie, I'm not necessarily paying attention to the visuals of the movie as I'm cooking in the kitchen, but more what I'm doing is I'm listening to the music and singing along with the music because I enjoyed that so much. And I feel like that's what Disney animation does better that Pixar sometimes lacks in, is that key music.
I was doing that on July 4th. It's my tradition. Every July 4th to do what, RJ?
Watch Hamilton.
Watch Hamilton. So when we woke up that morning, I was like, hey, do you want to watch Hamilton with me or you want me just to watch it by myself? And you were like, well, it's been a while since I've watched it. I'll watch it with you. So we go downstairs. I had to make something for a get together we were doing later. And we were in the kitchen. As soon as that first beat starts, I've just like got every word of that song. We were watching it on the TV, and I was having my own performance in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I look over and she's like mouthing every word, and she's like having her own little dance party in the kitchen.
Yes.
It was funny. I was judging. But yeah, I feel
Judge
like
all
Disney.
you want.
I feel like Disney has a lot of those music. Like Disney is known for their music. Like the soundtracks are just as popular as the movie is. With Pixar, it's not necessarily the same. So they're
Yeah.
known for their animation. I think they need to combine the two. Like
Yeah.
do an animation and music. I don't know. Okay, this is the next category, and I feel like this is where they did an excellent job, and that was world building and creativity.
Oh yeah, which I mean, I feel like we've already hit on that, but like
Yeah.
it was very realistic. Earth was very realistic. Being on the ocean, the way the waves moved, everything. The camp that he was at, all of it. And then, of course, outer space. What I really liked was this one part where towards the end of the movie, like the aliens have decided that Elio can stay with them, and then they open up this portal for his aunt to go back to Earth, and she turns and she looks out, and it looks like what you would see in like any of these like space movies, like Apollo 13 or is it Apollo, whatever that movie was called. I don't know. Space movies where they're like in outer space and they're looking down and they see Earth from their spaceship. it was very vivid, just like that, just like you would see any image that was taken from outer space or anything like that. Very good.
Yeah, I liked it was like a spaceship that they had from the alien community that they where they would all gather together and share their knowledge. And I did like the world building around that, how they were showing the shared knowledge. And then they had that one computer system that he was asking he was like, you can ask me anything in the entire universe or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, in a fight between one gorilla with a baseball bat and 10 chimps, who would win?
Yeah.
So that part of it was super funny, because it's like, out of all the things that you could ask in the entire world, he was like, well, we don't really do fighting here. And he was like, but who would win? He's like, the gorilla. I felt like that sort of showed, or even like the world building aspects of the animation when it comes to the bathroom or the council room or the spaceship designs, where you've got there were little details like the universal translator that I thought was super cool.
Yeah.
Where as soon as he came in, he would get to that, what was it they called it, ooh or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like a bunch of sounds, but it was the computer system.
Yeah.
But the universal translator I thought was really cool as far as world building goes, and then how they differentiated between, okay, space is really cold, but like Glordon's people require a lot of heat, and how the universal translator could generate hot and cold temperatures.
Yeah.
But when it broke, Glordon was in trouble because that universal translator. It was little details like that that I really appreciated about the Pixar movie, because like they thought about all the little intricate details, the universal translator, the hot and the cold, the
even the use of the satellites in space, and how much we use these satellites,
right?
And how
they had on the space shuttle before that was orbiting Earth, the satellite, how it had that disc on the side of it, and that's how they were able to make first contact with the human race. And so, like, all those little intricate details about the movie, I really appreciated.
Yeah.
So, like, even though the story didn't hit for me, the animation and the world building and the creativity surrounding the details of the different things, I feel like made up in a sense for the story being a little bit off,
right,
and the music being a little bit off for me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So like that's where Pixar does well. It's details, and I feel like if you combine details and storyline of like some of their other
Pixar
IPs.
also is really good about adding elements from their movies into other movies.
Yeah.
Like you might have like Buzz Lightyear's and Finding Nemo, things like that.
Yeah.
I didn't notice right off the bat of anything like that in Elio, but I did. You did? Because I was going to say I would go back and watch it again just to look for those things.
So it's actually for the next movie coming up, Hops.
They had that doesn't count.
Well, no, but that's what they do, is not just the ending, the final credits, but in a portion of the movie they had little geckos throughout the movie. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah. But they've done it too, where it's like it's been movies that they've already made. That's what I was referencing towards.
Yeah, so they had a lot of little things to their upcoming movie Hops, which I thought was neat.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know about until the ending. Mm-hmm. When we did the credits scene. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But anyway, do you feel like this compares to other Pixar movies? I think we've kind of already touched on this a little bit. This was just the next topic.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I mean, there are elements of it. It's not the worst Pixar movie. It's not. But it's not the best either.
Even though Toy Story is a amazing movie to most, to me, I just don't connect well with the storyline. I feel like I connect well with movies like Disney animation, like The Lion King. I feel like I connect with those movies well. With most Pixar movies, I've never felt like I've necessarily connected. Probably the closest one where I felt like I've connected to it has been Inside Out.
Yeah.
But as
Especially
far
the
as
second one.
yeah, no, even the second one, I feel like I've connected with that one. Whereas with Toy Story, like the playing with toys and stuff, like I was a kid who didn't play with toys much as played with electronics. So like to me, I didn't connect well with the Toy Story storyline. The Cars storyline, I felt like I connected with a little better. So you get what I'm saying? Like I felt like with this story, I don't think I necessarily connected with it. Doesn't mean it was bad.
Right.
But it's the same. I just feel like the original storylines that they're coming up with, like Elemental and that, are just I've not connected with any of the new ones as much as the older ones.
And I think too there's an aspect of some of that, like the main theme in this was, like you said, just being you who you are. You know, like if you find that you're a nerdy person, be that nerdy person and find the people who accept you for who you are. You know, a lot of those things are harder. Not saying that adults can't find that applicable for them. It's not, you know, hopefully, though I feel like we all go through moments, right? But hopefully we have kind of worked through that ourselves already, you know?
Yeah.
So
like
maybe
at
that
our stage of life, I guess it's a little different.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way I feel about Toy Story. Like, I wasn't a toys kid. I was a play with electronics kid.
I was a toys kid.
Right.
So, like, when Toy Story 3...
Too.
When Toy Story 3 came out, it came out this summer before I was going to college. And, like, Andy's going to college, and, like, he's, like, saying goodbye to all of his toys. That movie broke me. Like, I still, like, vividly remember how emotionally upset I was over that, you know? But it's because at that time in my life, I related to that. Whereas, you know, this, like, yeah, even as an adult, I still feel like sometimes, like, lack of belonging. But it's just different, you know? It's just, there wasn't a full connection there. Yeah.
Right. If you could change anything about it, what would you change?
I don't know. I don't know what specifically I could put into it that would make it better for me.
I think more character development with his at-home life.
Maybe. But I think a lot of it, too, has to do with this is a very boy movie. If I could put genders on a movie, okay, like, this is a very boy movie. You know, I love the princesses. And so that's a girl movie. So I just feel like, in general, I just didn't connect with it very well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying by that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. The last thing we wanted to talk about before we give our final thoughts was they did have 2 end credits scenes. So if you do watch it and you haven't watched it yet, you can go look up those 2 end credits and just kind of see what they've got. The first end credit was just him. Wow, now I'm drawing a blank.
Elio and his friend.
Yeah, it was Elio.
They were just keeping. It was showing
they
how
were
they
using ham radio to communicate and
you know, okay,
keep
so
up.
speaking of that, there were a lot of elements of this movie that reminded me of Stranger Things.
Yes, I would
the ham
agree.
radios, and then the way that they were the light bulbs that he used to communicate to outer space.
Yeah.
And then when Glordon opened his mouth, it looked like what do they call them on?
Oh,
It's
been so long since I've seen Stranger Things.
The monster on it. You know what I'm talking about. Like his teeth. Like there were a lot of elements where I'm like, this is Stranger Things for kids.
That was a humorous moment where Elio climbed into his mouth, dude. That I forgot about.
Yes.
And he's like, I've never been inside there.
Yeah.
That part of it, I did laugh at.
Yeah.
But
Glordon
I think
is probably your comedic relief in the movie.
Yeah, I liked Glordon, I think, a little bit more than I liked Elio, I feel like.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so the communication and then the preview for Hops, which I don't think I would have stayed for.
We stayed for a long time for that one. But
yeah, like they literally were about to kick us out. Yeah.
It was just like the title of the movie. So
yeah.
I mean, let us save you
Yeah.
a time. Watch the first end credit scene just because it's kind of like that epilogue of a book where you're like, okay, they're still keeping in contact with each other because, spoiler alert, Elio decides to go back to Earth and just be who he is, and he builds friendships. But he's
Yeah.
also keeping in contact with Glordon.
Right. All right. Final thoughts. Like, would you go see it? Would you recommend this movie? Who would you recommend it to? Like, should go see it? That sort of thing.
I say watch it, but I think just wait till it comes on Disney Plus. Like, this is not, we've discussed this before on here. Like, we've gone to the movies more this year for the podcast sake than what we have in a long time. We just find that it's kind of expensive to go to the movies when it's going to be on our streaming services really soon. So this is a movie that I probably wouldn't spend the money to go see in theaters unless your local summer theater's doing a $1 movie, then go, right? But when it comes out on Disney Plus or something, you need to watch it. Watch it for once just so you can say you've watched it. I definitely think I asked Bella at the end, I said, Bella, did you like Elio or Lilo and Stitch better? And she said Lilo and Stitch. And as she can sit through a movie, but she was getting restless through Elio. Lilo and Stitch kept her attention the whole time. And she's 5, so like she can sit through a movie. She does all the time. But she was getting a little restless with this one, so she didn't really connect with it very well. Like I said, I definitely think that maybe your more boys would like this one more. I really thought Ethan, Noah's little brother, was going to like this one a lot, and he just kind of felt about it. But I'm just like, you need to watch it. It's not the worst. But I wouldn't spend a lot of money to watch it either.
I feel like Disney's gone a little bit backwards in some of their movies. Like, the movies that I've thoroughly enjoyed, I think needed to be in theaters, were like Encanto, it needed to be in theaters. Or Luca. Luca would have been... No, it was never in theaters. It was
Encanto
only a Disney
wasn't?
Plus series.
Really?
Yeah, because it happened right around the time that COVID hit, so they decided to make it only a Disney Plus series or movie. And then Luca was another one that I thought should have been in theaters because I really enjoyed that storyline as well.
It was good.
And then the things like Elemental and this movie Elio, I felt like should have been Disney Plus movies.
Yeah.
I feel like they've gotten it backwards a little bit lately, but I don't know. I felt like this was but then you look at the visuals and you understand why it should have been in theater. Like, the visuals are what made the movie. Would I recommend you go to theater tomorrow and see it if you hadn't seen it? Probably not. I would be like Jessalyn and say, let's just wait until it comes out on Disney Plus. But then again, we were talking about Stitch, and as a family, and we're like, instead of seeing Elio, can we just go watch Stitch again?
Yeah,
like, the
we were
reason we did
ready.
it was because we wanted to do this for the podcast, but we hadn't heard anything like uber fantastic about this movie, but we needed to go see it. I'm glad we went and saw it for this reason, but like, I don't feel like it was worth it.
I agree.
No. So
your
that's my
overall
thought.
star rating out of 5, what would you give it?
Like a 2.
Oh, I was going to do
3.
2.5. 2.5.
Yeah. 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe people would have differing opinions than us. But...
Yeah, and somebody could have it. Like, I've never been a fan of any Pixar movies, so, like, take it as you will. Like, that may just be a me thing.
Yeah.
And you may thoroughly enjoy it. So just take it and go see it for yourself and decide for yourself. But, like, if I had to spend $40, would I watch it again? No. Like, it wasn't worth $40 for us 3 to go to the family. And that was without, like, not even getting any popcorn, just exclusively the movie tickets. That was how much it cost. And so, like, I didn't think it was worth that. Did I think Stitch was worth that? Absolutely. Yeah, I thought it was
I feel like
worth
we
it,
need
the
to do an
remake.
episode on movie theater etiquette. You know what I
It's a
mean?
Disney podcast, though, so,
I feel like our society as a whole has forgotten about others.
Yeah, like
You know what I
that
mean?
may play into our thoughts on this whole thing because
It
we
may
had a
be. We were
terrible
really,
theater
yeah.
experience.
We had a some people behind us that were just like obnoxious, so that could
Yeah,
have added to that.
yeah, like kicking the back of
We
your
thought
seat,
we were gonna have
dropping
that
things all the
theater
time.
to ourselves, like we
Yeah,
really did.
until like 10 minutes before the movie, I think like all the people showed up, but we literally had the whole theater to ourselves for
Yeah.
pretty much.
They had already turned the lights down, and we were just the only ones in there. So yeah,
Yeah.
that probably could have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, well, we really appreciate it. We miss Noah, but we're happy that we could do this
Noah!
episode while Noah was on vacation. Hopefully
He'll
we'll
be
bring
back next week.
Yeah, he'll be back for the next episode and the one after that. And then after our trip, so we're pre-recording a couple episodes, and then after our trip, we'll come back and we'll give our report of like the new things that we experienced. Like if we're able to go on Test Track, we'll give you that experience, and we'll talk about the new villain show and the new Little Mermaid show and all those different things.
And we get to meet a rare character on this trip.
Possibly, yeah. So, so that'll be exciting too. So we'll try to talk about all that. So the next 2 episodes are probably going to not be that way. There'll be some other pre-recorded, and then after we get back from our trip, we'll record with Noah our 2 trip experiences, and so that'll be good. But yeah, definitely listen next week too. We've got a fun game I think that we're going to be doing. I don't want to spoil too much about it because we're still discussing the details, but we'll have a fun game that I think we're going to play with you guys. So keep an eye out on our social media because there may be a post by the time this episode releases where you will have to interact with it so we can have our next episode. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that. But yeah, thank you so much for listening and hanging out and listening to our opinion of Elio. Even though it wasn't necessarily the greatest movie in the world, we were glad we got to go see it, and we love pretty much all Disney movies. So even though it sounded pretty negative, it doesn't mean we hate it.
Yeah, we're just trying to save you money.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're here for, right?
Let us spend our money so we can save you money.
Exactly. And I do apologize. It's just after the 4th of July, so if you hear banging going on in the background,
Fireworks everywhere.
People have not discovered that it's not the 4th of July anymore, and they have bought another $1,000 worth of fireworks for tonight.
They're still celebrating
And so
their freedom. So.
I'm hoping that the audio thing clips it all out. Also, let us know. I haven't heard anything, so I'm assuming that it was good for our video and our audio, but let me know if you think of anything. There's a few changes I want to make this week, but I think overall I like this program better.
And don't forget, we're still working to get more followers so that we can get Noah in that Stitch onesie.
Yes.
So share our podcast with your friends, your social media. That will help us out a lot.
Yes. Thank you so much for hanging out and listening. And now we are not going to play the same pre-recorded message we played last week.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our show. Before you go, please don't forget to gather your belongings and head over to our email at carouselpod@gmail.com to ask us your questions. Oh, and wouldn't you believe it? You can now bring the magical sense of vacation right into your home. Check out the Magic Candle Company and use our exclusive link with the code CarouselPod at checkout to get 15% off your order. And don't forget, we're here to help you plan your future Disney trips. Just send us a message at rj@famvia.com. Until next time, we'll see you in a great, big, beautiful week.